Coming up, find out how the public library is encouraging teenagers to read over the summer. Troy TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for July 15th, 2013. I'm Felicia Payne. Thank you for joining us this evening. The final Impact session for the summer began Monday morning, and throughout the summer, the Impact leaders have worked to make sure that the incoming freshmen have an experience that they will take with them for years to come. Impact counselors dedicate their summer to preparing incoming freshmen for their time at Troy, and during the summer, leaders say they have benefited from this experience as well.
Every day is just even more rewarding to see the impact that we're making on these students.
I could probably go on for days about how beneficial it is. I've met so many people that I never would have met doing this experience, and I feel like it's made me, it's honestly taken me out of my comfort zone a little bit too.
The 14 leaders may not have known each other at the beginning of Impact, but they say that they have all become friends during this time.
I've really enjoyed getting to know all the other 14 Impact leaders. They've become my 14 best friends. Literally, I know it sounds crazy. Before the summer started, I barely knew some of them.
And be able to come up here and spend the summer with 13 strangers that are now my best friends, it's just been an awesome experience.
While the leaders all have their favorite part of Impact, there seems to be one thing that people just don't like.
Registering, it's like a jigsaw puzzle every time, and as the sessions go, there's obviously less classes, so it becomes more of a challenge.
So I think it would be scheduling them, just because it takes up so much time, and you want them to get the classes that they want, but then on the other hand, there aren't enough classes.
And as Impact is coming to an end, the leaders offer some advice to the new students at Troy.
Just to be a positive influence, to get involved on campus. I think getting plugged in is really, really important to make the most out of your college experience, regardless of what your interest is. I think that's the best thing about Troy is there's so many different things to get involved in. So my biggest advice to them is just to get plugged in, and obviously to keep the grades up as high as they can, but mostly just to get plugged in.
Classes for the fall semester begin August 14th. Thursday night, the public library brought books to life. Recreating scenes from mystery and spy books, teenagers were left to their own defenses to get through the library to win a prize. It seems simple. Go to the top of the library, open a lock, and win the prize. But when the library looks like this, it can be tricky. Armed with traps and tricks, one false move can land you captured in jail. And this was only part of the challenge during the heist Thursday night.
We set up motion sensors, trip wires, things that you would normally read of in fiction or see in films. And there was a series of 8 obstacles that they had to overcome. And the team that could reach the prize with the shortest amount of time won the prize.
The prize is in this egg, but the trick to the game is figuring out how to get it off the sensor, because if you pick it up, the sensor goes off. Inside the egg was a $100 cash prize to split between the winning team. And after this successful beta run, White says he hopes to host more activities like this for the community.
And seeing as how libraries had never really done anything like this before, I just wanted to see if we could do it, and if the kids would be interested in it, and they seem to respond to it very well, so we'll probably do it again.
The heist is part of the summer reading program hosted by the public library, designed to keep students reading during their summer breaks.
I've actually read the Pretty Little Liars series, and I've actually started on Gone with the Wind, and I can say both of those books are really, really good.
I come to the library all the time just while my mom's at work, and she's at work for 8 hours, so I stay here all the time.
Reading levels tend to slip when a child doesn't read during the summer. In order to keep them where they need to be for the following school year, it's important that they read throughout the summer.
The winning group completed all 8 challenges in right at 21 minutes. And now taking a look at news from around the state, police say there have been that 3 people were killed and 9 others have been injured in a crash on a highway in Gunnersville. State troopers say that the accident yesterday afternoon involved a pickup that was carrying more than 10 children and flipped on U.S. Highway 431. Officials at a Birmingham hospital say that they plan to provide more escorts as a heightened security measure after a pregnant nurse told police she was abducted from the parking lot. Birmingham police say the unidentified 28-year-old woman was leaving work Saturday night at Princeton Baptist Medical Center when a man forced her to drive him to several ATMs to withdraw money. And in Clanton, Alabama's Emergency Management Agency plans to conduct an exercise to practice how the state would respond if a Category 3 hurricane were to enter the Gulf of Mexico. The simulated exercise begins at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. EMA officials say that more than 170 people will participate. And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the Sun Belt released its preseason coaches poll today, and where did Troy end up? Mitchell Spoon will tell us that and more coming up in sports. Plus, we'll have the latest update on the aftermath of the verdict in the Zimmerman trial. TrojanVision Nightly News will be back after the break.
What's next for George Zimmerman after his acquittal? I'm Susan McGinnis in Sanford, Florida. Coming up, more charges Zimmerman could face.
Time was, kids did what came naturally, spending free time running through the grass, exploring streams. But times have changed. Today's indoor kids spend more than 7 hours in front of electronic media. That's why National Wildlife Federation created the Be Out There movement. Outdoor play improves kids' health, body, mind, and spirit. It helps them stay fit, enhances creativity, and could even make them better students. There's a reason they call it the Great Outdoors. Learn more at beoutthere.org.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
In a new interview with the CBS Evening News, George Zimmerman's attorney talks about the possibility of a civil rights suit against the former Neighborhood Watch captain. Zimmerman was acquitted of murder and manslaughter in the case last weekend. Attorney General Eric Holder also spoke about the case today. Susan McGinnis has the latest from Sanford, Florida.
George Zimmerman's attorneys tell the CBS Evening News they are not worried about a possible criminal civil rights suit against Zimmerman.
The FBI has looked at this case for over a year, and they never found any evidence of racism or inappropriate actions by George that would suggest a civil rights violations.
Defense attorney Mark O'Mara also says he is not worried that Trayvon Martin's family will file a wrongful death suit against Zimmerman.
All of the information that did not make it into the criminal trial about Trayvon Martin is going to be very relevant in any civil proceeding. So I don't know why they would want to risk sort of damaging the memory of Trayvon Martin.
The Justice Department is looking into whether the government should file a civil rights case against Zimmerman. Attorney General Eric Holder spoke about the case in a speech to an African-American sorority in Washington today.
We are resolved, as you are, to combat violence involving or directed at young people, to prevent future tragedies, and to deal with the underlying attitudes, mistaken beliefs, and stereotypes that serve as the basis for these two common incidents.
Zimmerman has been in seclusion since the trial. His attorney says he will request to have the gun he used to shoot Trayvon Martin returned. On Monday, hundreds of people attended a prayer service at a church several miles from where Trayvon Martin was killed. Pastors here are promoting peace and trying to help the community heal in the aftermath of George Zimmerman's acquittal. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Sanford, Florida.
A top U.S. diplomat is holding talks with the leaders in Egypt's capital less than 2 weeks after the army ousted President Mohamed Morsi. Alfonso Van Marsh reports from London.
U.S. Deputy Secretary of State William Burns finished talks with Egypt's interim president with a simple message: return to democracy.
We want a strong Egypt, an Egypt which is stable, democratic, inclusive, and tolerant.
But that's not good enough for many Egyptians upset over the recent removal of Islamist President Mohamed Morsi. Some accuse the United States of influencing the military-led takeover. America provides $1.5 billion a year in military and other aid to Egypt. This man says, we are now returning to a totalitarian regime. It does not give Islam any worth. Demonstrators on both sides seem to be united in their anger against the United States for interfering. Last month, pro-democracy supporters lashed out against the U.S. ambassador to Egypt, who backed Morsi and discouraged countrywide demonstrations against him. Those protests led to Morsi's ouster. Then last week, the State Department said Morsi's rule was undemocratic. More recently, Washington called on Egypt's military-led transitional government to release Morsi. He is being held at an undisclosed location. At least 92 people have died in violence since Morsi's removal. On Monday, Egyptian officials blamed suspected militants for an attack on a bus in Sinai that killed at least 3 more people. Alfonso Van Marsh, CBS News.
The Obamas opened the White House to some of its past presidents today. The first President Bush paid a visit, and Danielle Nottingham tells us why.
Former President George H.W. Bush is 2 decades removed from his days in the Oval Office, but he was back in the spotlight at the White House.
It's like coming home for Barbara and me, with the rest of you just coming to this magnificent house.
Wearing his trademark flashy socks, the 89-year-old former president and wife Barbara joined the current First family to honor the Points of Light organization. Mr. Bush launched the program more than 20 years ago to recognize outstanding volunteer work. President Obama thanked him for that leadership.
We are surely a kinder and gentler nation because of you, and we can't thank you enough.
Their shared interest in national service allows the 2 leaders to set aside their political differences and focus on the good work of thousands of dedicated Americans. In fact, 5,000 awards have been handed out through the Points of Light program. The 2 presidents marked that milestone with the newest honorees, a retired couple from Iowa whose nonprofit delivers free meals to children around the world.
When people give of themselves, when they share the burden and they share the task of solving it, lights shine, love grows.
President Obama also used this occasion to launch a new push for volunteerism. He announced the creation of a federal task force to explore ways of promoting national service. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
And now Mitchell Spoon joins us with sports. So Mitchell, I know we're getting close to football season. What can you tell us?
That's right. We have the first football story of the 2013 season. For all you Troy fans out there, you don't want to miss this. The Sun Belt Conference took over the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans today for the annual Sun Belt Football Media Day. The conference released a preseason coaches poll, and Troy didn't fare too well. The Trojans were picked closer to the bottom than they were the top, projected to finish 5th in the league with 35 points. At the top, it was a battle in the Bayou as both Louisiana Lafayette and Louisiana Monroe received 57 points and are projected to finish first. After them, Arkansas State barely edged out Western Kentucky for 3rd. Newcomers Texas State and Georgia State found themselves below Troy, with the Bobcats coming in 6th, ahead of Sunbelt veteran South Alabama, and the Panthers coming in dead last. But the Trojans' 5th place selection is 1 spot better than they finished last season, which was 6th. Quarterback Corey Robinson says he hopes Troy will eliminate some of the bad luck that they had last season.
You know, it was a roller coaster, man. It was definitely, they went 5-7. With 6 out of our 7 losses by 7 points or less. So, it could have went either way for us, man. On some situation, we could have been 11-1, but 5-7 is what we ended up. And there's a lot of things that we could have worked on offensively, to help our guys out, on defense, and a lot of things they could have helped us out with. It's just a little case of the bad luck, I'd like to say, but we're trying to change that around, man.
In addition to the coaches poll, the Sun Belt also released its preseason All-Sun Belt team. Troy landed 3 players on the team, with those people being senior wide receiver Eric Thomas, senior punter Will Scott, and junior offensive lineman Terrence Jones.